All right, the Detroit Lions might actually have a problem on their hands when it comes to the Zedarius Smith contract, but also some really weird tweets and things like that, plus the fact that honestly he just didn't play that great. So in this video we are going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about how this NFL draft is absolutely loaded on the defensive line. That's a good thing. That is a good thing. So we got bad news and good news that is coming out of this, and we're going to try and make sense of this Zedarius Smith contract. We're going to look into what the Detroit Lions salary cap situation looks like. There's a lot going on, so we're going to talk about some of that. We are full on in the NFL off season. We're talking contracts. We're talking all this kind of stuff. This is when I nerd out. And as weird as it sounds, I'm going to be honest with you guys. And I want you to be honest with me back in this comment. Do you enjoy hearing and talking football more during the season? Or are you one of those just nasty guys like me that likes talking about it even more in the off season? I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the hope. Maybe it's the future. Maybe it's the just excitement of what could happen and starting to get a glimpse and seeing what this next iteration of the Detroit Lions can look like. It gets me really excited. And now that we have Dan Campbell, now that we have Brad Holmes at the helm, I really look forward to off seasons because they're exciting to watch because they don't make dumb decisions. All right. So I saw this by Dove Kleiman. I follow him on Twitter. He does a great job, by the way. The Lions' Darius Smith has fascinating jewelry collection. A custom captain necklace, despite never being named captain. Okay. Like, what? Why? But that's not the other one. He got a custom championship ring, despite going 0-1 in the playoffs with Detroit. Is this a man that has an understanding of what reality is? Look, I understand that football is a business where they pay you primarily for your physical gifts, but at the same time, I wouldn't even say primarily. That's not even true. I don't even believe what I'm saying, right? Like, you need to have a good head on your shoulders. And it tells me something a little weird about someone when they have their own captain necklace while never being a necklace, or never being, of course he's never been a necklace, while never being a captain in the NFL. What is that? And then the ring, the ring I can understand, like he makes a championship ring before it all starts. You know, he's excited. He's like, hey, they're going to get in. I mean, he was wearing the Rasheed Wallace jersey, making the connection between they traded for Rasheed Wallace halfway through the year. And then the Pistons ended up winning an NBA championship. Like, he gets that and all that. I actually kind of get that. But the necklace, that's just weird. And then you look at his salary. And I'm just going to kind of go through the different things that I've been trying to find. If you go to Spotrac, like this is my number one place that I love to go to. You have a $1.5 million base. You have all these add-on years here, but I don't see it. You see a cap hit of $4 million. If you go to over the cap, you see a cap hit of $5 million. If you go to Sideline Report, it's interesting because they have a totally different idea with it. It says along with $6.9 million option bonus, Smith also has a $2 million bonus due to him on the third day of the new league year in March. So we have to make this decision in the next month and a half. That's $8.99 million tacked onto his $1.5 million base salary. Suddenly makes Smith look like a fairly expensive player in 2025 when he'll be 33 years old. All right? You talk about all this kind of stuff, it ends up being 10, 12 million, something like that. I've heard numbers everywhere from he's going to cost us 5.7 to he's going to cost us 12.5 million. So at 5.7, run it back. Like, even with the captain necklace, even with all this, the problem is I can't figure out how much the dude actually makes. Like, I don't know. And so it's interesting to me. It's just interesting to me. So, like, if he costs that much, you have to look at other options. So let's first look at the draft, and then we'll look in another spot, and we'll look at what free agents we have available. First and foremost, Dane Brugler, who I absolutely respect, maybe more than any other draft analyst, is saying this. The talent along the defensive line is as deep as we have seen during Senior Bowl week. It is a loaded defensive line. All right? He even uses the word buckle up. That's nice because it's in Mobile. All right? Mobile. Anyways. All right. Marshall's Mike Green. Texas A&M's Shamar Stewart. Ole Miss's Walter Nolan. Right? Like, and not just that. You're talking Landon Jackson in Arkansas. You're talking great players from BC, Texas, Kentucky, A&M. Like, all these guys that are good players. And when you look at the NFL draft board, just on edge rushers, not even defensive tackles, they back that up. You have Abdul Carter, who's an absolute monster, just a freak, right? James Pierce Jr. played phenomenal football over the last 2 years with Tennessee. All right, there's that Mike Green. These are all guys that are edge rushers that are in the top 10, 11 players. A guy like Mykel Williams could absolutely drop, or Shamar Stewart or Jack Sawyer to the Detroit Lions at pick 28. Nick Skirton, for sure. All right, these are guys that could all be available, and they were good, productive players in college, but they also can be really good players in the NFL in the right system with the right coaches. So this, all of a sudden, what seemed like when we signed him to be a no-brainer, pay him $5.7 million next year as well, all of a sudden you have to start asking yourself, okay, is it? Let's look at what we might be able to get on the open market, because Detroit is still a place where players want to come play. This is still a really good team. Players saw what happened here last year. They're not dumb. They know it's a good team to go play for. All right, you got guys like Khalil Mack. He's a year older, right, than Zedarius Smith, but a much more impressive career and has played really, really well. I don't want to give him $22 million, but you got guys like Josh Sweat. You got Hassan Reddick, again, a little older player, and I wouldn't be paying Reddick, but you can get him probably for less money than you'd pay Zedarius Smith. You got Malcolm Kuntz. You got Baron Browning. These are guys that you could bring in, all right, that you can bring in here that could be decent on edge, opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson. There's a lot of other options that you can come in here. All right? Ojulari, if you want more of that speed type player, I wouldn't do it. DeMarcus Lawrence, you want an aging player? There you go. Bring him in. Like Dante Fowler Jr., he got stuff done. We saw him wreak havoc against us in the playoffs. Meanwhile, Zedarius Smith was just nowhere to be seen. All right? Chancey Golston, bring in some of these guys that have been healthy throughout their career, rather than, and Zedarius Smith has been healthy too, right? But like, there's a lot of options and a lot of players that you can bring in. I'm not saying you have to bring in a world beater. All right, we have $55 million left. If we release Zedarius Smith, that number probably goes up to like 60. Okay, so that's just some of those things to look at. Loaded class. What do we do with them? I don't know. What do you think? Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm leaning with let them go and find something in the draft or in free agency, or, maybe even do something where it works for both parties, where you let them go because you don't want to pay that extra bonus and then bring them back on a cheaper 2-year deal. Just a thought. All right, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.